Recently, I did a video on the top 3 Disney films that I thought were artful. I got a lot of great responses, but several people complained that Fantasia and Bambi, two films which are considered amongst the most artful Disney films out there, were not included on this list. I'd like to explain in this video, before you get mad at me, why I think Fantasia and Bambi are two Disney films that might be a little overrated when it comes to their artistic credentials. I think both Disney films, Fantasia and Bambi, are really enjoyable films to watch, but artistically both of them have conceptual issues, meaning both of them have large problems with the way that Disney chose to make the film, which contradict what the original purpose should have been. For example, when it comes to Fantasia, it is really helping us to explore classical music, but the problem is this film is taking classical music, which is meant to be played in our minds and for us to interpret how we see in our own minds how this music is supposed to go and it's supposed to make us feel. They are literalizing it on the screen. So it's really kind of a conflict of taking these classical pieces and putting them to music on a screen with visuals, because they are telling us what we're supposed to be seeing. Now, I realize that most people have gotten over this. We have MTV now, we have, all kinds of music videos. People have gotten over that. However, in the 1940s, classical music was very much an intellectual exercise. And so this film really kind of contradicts what classical music always tried to do by making you enjoy music on its own pure level. When we're looking at Bambi, the big problem conceptually was that they took what was a natural environment and what was originally a story, and by the way, Bambi does come from a book. Bambi was a very natural character, and the story told a very natural type of story. However, in the movie, they decide to kind of cartoon things up a bit with a little bit of exaggeration. For example, the fact that they're talking with an owl is a problem because most of Bambi's friends would have been eaten by that owl in reality. So they kind of changed the book quite a bit in order to make it more palatable to audiences. So the concept of the film was changed in order to make it more enjoyable. So artistically, it's kind of a mixed bag for both films. Both Fantasia and Bambi suffer from what I would call highbrow art versus lowbrow art moments that are conflicting with one another. Really, Fantasia is probably the bigger one to complain about. There are some really great moments with fantastic animation, such as the Night on Bald Mountain sequence in Fantasia, but that's also mixed with scenes like with the centaurs, where there's some kind of cutesy moments, things that are meant to kind of grab the audience that are a little bit sweeter and gentler, and even back in the 30s and 40s, that period, people that were really interested in art saw this as kind of a weird mesh of those two things coming together. And so a lot of people, even back then, were not crazy about that mixture of highbrow art versus lowbrow art. When you come to Bambi, again, it's similar issues, such as the Twitter-pated incident when Bambi gets older. It's cute, it's sweet, but it also is very different from some of the more serious moments in the film, or the beautiful moments of like experiencing nature when the rain is falling. There is just some moments where Disney kind of breaks from the naturalism in order to kind of soften things and enjoy the audience participation in these characters developing a little bit more. I understand why they did it on a film level, but on an artistic level, it's two things coming together and clashing, highbrow and lowbrow. Both Fantasia and Bambi suffer from editing choices. Classical music in Fantasia was often, in most of the pieces, cut. And so, again, people that are really interested in the art of music found that these edits and cuts really took away from what was supposed to be the original feeling of the music. With Bambi, they basically skipped over most of Bambi's adulthood because they found the baby part of Bambi more interesting. So they kind of edited over his life. Unfortunately, both these films suffer from these kinds of decisions. They're not bad films, but they're just not consistently great art films. Have a great day, and make sure you continue to art smart.